Nada, your take on an open sourcing of the Twitter algorithm, would that in any way make it more decentralized in nature?
Yeah, it's a great question, Caroline. Actually, just take it back a bit. It's funny because I actually think that Twitter right now is distracting people from a lot of the real innovation that's happening in social media. I'd like to say, imagine if the iPhone came out and yet all anyone wanted to talk about was their BlackBerry. Most people don't even remember what a BlackBerry is anymore because it's no longer relevant. But really, right now, Twitter and centralized social media platforms are BlackBerry, and DSO is the iPhone. And why is that? Well, really, it's because it's better in every way than centralized social media platforms like Twitter. And to go now to your question about open sourcing, well, it's exactly what you said. When you make a post on Twitter, a corporation owns it, they control who gets to see it, and they make all the money off of it. And all of that's completely opaque. In contrast, when you make a post on DSO, it's stored on the DSO blockchain, and you own it the same way you would own your Bitcoin. It goes onto a public ledger and shows up in hundreds of apps that all have their own approach to moderation, most of which are completely open source, and you can actually look into how they work. And so, right now we're talking about which billionaire should control the internet. Do we want Elon Musk or the Saudi prince, to control Twitter? And the answer is, we want nobody to control it. DSO really is to social what Bitcoin is to money. You can own your content for the first time, and it's extremely exciting.
What was interesting, of course, on the currently rather centralized website that is Twitter, you had the likes of Sam Bankman-Fried, of course, SBF, CEO of FTX, the crypto exchange, talking about what he thought a decentralized Twitter could look like. Talk to us about it. Is there any way that you can reverse engineer this? Because SBF was sort of talking about tweets going on chain, they're encrypted, the sender chooses who has access to them. So it sort of unifies direct messages and tweets, or you can monetize it by having the protocol charging something per message, or you could be about the user interface that monetizes it as well. Is there any way you could reverse engineer Twitter in and of itself?
Of course, and actually everything that Sam Bankman-Fried described in his tweet already exists on DSO. And so really, like I said, it's like all anyone's talking about is BlackBerry, and yet the iPhone's right here. Including, by the way, end-to-end encrypted group messaging, exactly as he described it for the exact purpose. And if you want to actually see it for yourself, there are many apps listed on DSO.org, but my favorite is diamondapp.com. And you can use exactly what Sam Bankman-Fried describes as the epitome of decentralized social media if you go to diamondapp.com. And again, it's all happening right before our eyes. It's kind of a gradually then suddenly kind of phenomenon. But DSO already has over 1.5 million accounts, hundreds of applications being built on it. People like Chamath of Social Capital, Brian Armstrong, Winklevoss, actually even Sam Bankman-Fried a long time ago made an account on a DSO app. He probably doesn't even remember it right now, but I'm sure he's looking at it again. So a lot of very impactful people are looking at this, and I think it's just a matter of time before the heat really gets on it.
Yeah, so Nada, let's talk about this, therefore, as a bit of if Twitter did embrace in some way Web3 a little bit more than Web 2, and aided sort of the gateway drug to then jumping onto one of the apps built on DSO, what would that look like? How can you help me, others who are still just very used to Web 2, getting to grips with what really a decentralized social platform could look like? Because a lot of it looks kind of scary. It looks like, or you're charging for certain bits, the protocol's going to do this. It can sound terribly intimidating. Demystify, unintimidate it for us.
Absolutely. So if you go to an app like diamondapp.com, you'll see that it's similar to Twitter. You can still follow people, you can make posts, but the difference is that when you follow someone, that's stored on a public blockchain, and when you make a post, it shows up in all the apps built on the DSO blockchain, of which there are hundreds, not just that one app. So all these different moderation policies that are totally open impact your posts, and you get much more reach. And then because you're on a blockchain, you also have access to microtransactions, so you can tip via a diamond. So right next to the like button is a diamond button where you can give anywhere between a penny and hundreds of dollars. Creators have earned over $40 million on DSO apps across the ecosystem. Your post can become an NFT automatically because it's stored on the blockchain. And then you're asking about what is the future of Twitter? Well, interestingly, no matter how you slice Elon Musk taking control of Twitter or not taking control of Twitter, DeSo is really inevitable because either DeSo apps outcompete Twitter because open platforms outcompete closed platforms, or Twitter ends up in the long run embracing DeSo, storing its content on there so it can access things like the NFTs, microtransactions, and coins associated with it. So either way, DeSo, I think, is the future, and that's why I think it's so exciting.
And Nada, just quickly, how about content moderation therein?
Absolutely. So this is the unintuitive thing that a lot of people take for granted is when you have an open platform like DeSo, there's actually a lot more transparency into what is going viral and why, the reputation of the people who are posting, is it a bot or not. You can have the best machine learning researchers in the entire world analyzing the fire hose of content, identifying bot farms, bot armies, and even in the long term, moderation can be something that a lot of people take part in by analyzing the chain, producing lists of things that they believe are harmful that other private apps get to consume. And what's amazing is all of this can be done by smaller players with higher fidelity and higher accuracy than the platform monopolies today, because everyone in the economy has an incentive to build a piece that they're really good at. So we're really good at building the blockchain. We might not be the best at content moderation, but the best people in the world can do their part, and then we can utilize that service from them. So it just creates so much more efficiency around everything that's currently being done by kind of a stagnant platform monopoly today.